This guy wakes up too early, gets lonely, and does what any man would do. Clap. We begin our journey in outer space looking at the superbly looking starship Avalon, designed not by Tesla, that's for sure. It heads towards Homestead 2 in autopilot. Yep, surely not Tesla. The crew and the 5,000 passengers are sleeping in hibernation pods for the 120-year journey following a mass exodus of Earth's population. That still wouldn't be enough for me to get proper sleep. It is now 30 years into the journey. The ship goes through a meteor storm and power is diverted to the forward shields. Too many damn rocks. Space impact, we collide with a giant meteor and the power blinks. Red alert screens appear in the control area, then quickly return to normal. Phew, that was close. Hope nothing bad happened. Jim Preston, a mechanical engineer, wakes up in his pod with a cherry computer voice and breaks the news. Soon you'll arrive at Homestead 2. He feels weak and confused, but after the computer mentions booze and girls he'll enjoy for 4 months before arriving, Jim feels fresh and ready to go. The wristband on Jim's arm is scanned and the computer leads him to his cabin, where he can get more sleep, because what else does a man need after 120 hours of it? This time make sure to turn on lo-fi hip-hop for a good sleepy time, and you won't feel that bad. The next day he wakes up, getting ready to meet fellow passengers. He goes to an orientation session to learn about life as a colonist on Homestead 2. Sounds impressive, but why am I the only one here? Jim tries to find out where the girls are at, but the automated computer doesn't understand him. Yep, that was a great idea to automate everything on the spaceship. What could possibly go wrong? Guess this will be the only cheek you can clap. Slowly, Jim realizes something's wrong, and no booze will soon splash on his dreamy face. He goes to the Grand Concourse and tries to contact any real person, but there's no one there. He finds the captain's cabinet, but it's also empty. Who's operating the ship then? Science. Is this the smart future we all dream about? Jim finds an observatory and asks local Morgan Freeman about their destination. He discovers he became the early bird and woke up a bit earlier than the others, 90 years earlier. Well, grab some snacks. This will be a very long, lonely journey. Luckily, Jim finds a way to contact the customer support of Homestead Company. Message sent. Awesome. The message will arrive in 19 years. Ouch, that's a bit longer than expected. No worries, the answer will come back in 55 years. Thanks for your message. Please pay $6,000. You might consider this a joke, but that's precisely what happens when you try to change your password on Binance. Finally, some success. Jim finds a local bar, and there's a barman. Pity, he'll have to pay for the booze. Wait, a man. He's not the only one who's been awakened. And it's an android. Well, better than nothing. Search for the female version now. Although if the female android doesn't have the bottom too, that won't be that fun. Well, it'll be halfway fun. Jim finds the manual for the hibernation pods and manages to activate it. Nice one. Now we see you're indeed a mechanic. He activates it, slides in, but the dream doesn't start. And he's stuck, with no air. I saw a Tarantino movie like this. Oh wait, he's already out. So he failed to start it, and he cannot wake up anyone from the crew pods because the door there is locked better than the panties of your crush. Arthur, the bartender, doesn't really help either. You don't like where you want to be? Change it. Literally every self-improvement marathon out there. Stop worrying about what you can't change. Live a little. Another certified hood classic from Arthur. But Jim takes it seriously, breaks into a VIP suite, and starts living lavishly. Unlimited booze, delicious food, playing basketball alone. He has enjoyed living like Drake for a year now. Whoa, nice one, bro. I would definitely die from my own vomit in the second week of such a life. Slowly, Jim becomes more desperately lonely. That's weak, bro. I haven't communicated with people since the pandemic started. I care a lot about my health, you know? Suddenly, drunken and happy, Jim finds a spacesuit and plans to go outside in the cosmos. What could go wrong indeed? Beautiful space right there. Best place to commit suicide. Jim opens the airlock without a spacesuit but stops and runs into the pod area. The instinct of self-preservation. Can't fight with nature. Jim runs away and slips. Slip and Jimmy? Never mind. So he falls near a pod with a lovely woman inside, Aurora. He studies her passenger profile and finds out she's a writer and a journalist that travels to Homestead to have an adventure and write why people choose to be colonists. He listens to her video diary and thinks she's perfect. Yep, this is what happens when you're alone for a year. Even 2 sponges and a glove look more attractive and unusually beautiful. Trust me. Jim whines about how he found the woman of his life but will die without ever talking with her. So he comes up with a genius idea. Wake her up. Bro, you could have woken up all the people on the ship by that time. What are you waiting for? He's doubtful. She'll be desperately stuck for 90 years too. Oh, who cares? Just don't tell her how to wake up the others and she'll be your mamacita for the rest of the journey. Since you're the only man, that's how nature works. Jim gets some balls and wakes her up and immediately hides before she can see him. That's how we roll in the man's club. The same cheery computer program greets Aurora and leads her to her cabin to sleep. The next day, Aurora wakes up and wanders to the Grand Concourse where she meets Jim. Alright man, play it smooth. Tell her the robot woke you up and told you to make babies with Aurora and you have to do it fast, or you'll never get to the sleeping pod again. This'll work. Trust me, I did this 1,000 times. Nah, Jim tells her the truth about being woken up for a year now. Loser. Well, at least he doesn't tell her that he woke her up. That would ruin things for a long time. Jim takes her through the steps he tried to escape their situation. She denies it. Yep, the first phase. Don't worry, Jim. Give her a few months, play smooth. Slicky Jimmy asks Arthur not to tell Aurora that he woke her up. Arthur agrees. Jim now enjoys time with Aurora, while the latter tries to find a solution. Silly girl. The only way to get out is for your kids to get get out, so begin now. Aurora swims, runs, and writes her story, the grinding type. Those people hardly accept their fate. I guess you'll have to wait a bit more than usual, Jim. Oh wait, Aurora realizes she doesn't know a thing about him and goes for a talk. Score. Smooth, my boy. She asks why Jim left planet Earth and says he likes to make and fix things. While on Earth, things get replaced when they break and are not fixed. While Aurora's plan was to travel to the colony, spend a year drinking with colonists, and then return to Earth. What happens in Homestead stays in Homestead, as they say. Well, she had a plan. Now she's a part of Jim's plan. After some time, Aurora gives up on trying to escape and enjoys time with Jim, doing all of Drake's habits. They get to know each other and hang along. Smooth, as we planned. Jim uses his insights about Aurora and builds her a gift, a Chrysler building miniature, her favorite. We can see the girl loved it. Then he updates the cleaning robot to ask Aurora out for a date. Bro, with those skills, you could have possibly, at least maybe, tried to escape the situation. Well, what for? He got infinite food and a woman. What's there to dream for? Wait a second, I almost forgot. There's no internet, meaning that there are no new Dr. Phil videos. Stop the spaceship. I'm out. Jim and Aurora go for a dinner date and everything goes great. Food, wine, stories about dead parents. Then Jim takes her to the spacesuit room and they enjoy the outside. Works like clockwork and Aurora gets turned on harder than Arthur. So the lovebirds proceed to the rooms. And just like that, they continue to live as a happy couple. Routine exercise, watching the stars, taking advantage of the ship's entertainment and restaurants. Living the Kardashians' life but without the drama. Both see the ship is laggy sometimes, but maybe it's just ping. Oh wait, there's no ping here. Well, who cares? Both realize they're basically lab mice. A year passes by and it's Aurora's birthday. Jim plans a special surprise, a ring for her. Nice shot. If there's a church, you can ask Arthur to be the priest. Aurora goes to the bar and tells Arthur that she and Jim have no secrets and that Jim agrees. Arthur thinks Jim has told Aurora that he woke her up. While Jim goes to the boys' room, Arthur tells Aurora what a good choice Jim made to pick her to wake up. Ouch. For an android, Arthur has too good of a memory and is a bit stupid. Naturally, Aurora gets extremely furious and tells Jim to stay away from her. Well, I guess it's time for plan B. Whom will we wake up next? Aurora took the news badly. She still could not believe her situation. She even attacks him while he's sleeping. She grabs some metal from the floor and things almost turn into Half-Life, but she stops. Well, who's gonna clap you if you kill the only man on the ship? And who will provide for the family? While Aurora is running, Jim uses an intercom to apologize, but she screams that Jim took her life. Sort of. Yeah, you get the point. But time is the best healer. You can wait years to forgive Jim or just go clap him right now. No one will judge. There isn't anyone around to judge in case you already forgot. While all this drama happens, the control room more frequently gets alerts of system failures over time. Jim and Aurora have noticed, but what exactly are they going to do about it? Send another message to customer support? It's now 2 years since Jim woke up. He planted a tree on the concourse. Excellent job. Impressed Aurora. But Gus here is not impressed. Wait, who the hell is Gus? Turns out Gus is a deck crew chief and is woken up early too. Hibernation pods have never failed before and Gus explains that something significant is wrong. VIP wristband gets them to the command center where they learn that the ship's automatic diagnostics have failed and they must check every deck manually. While they do it, Gus finds out what Jim did. I see a man's solidarity here. Sorry, Aurora, you won't find support here. Not before Gus feels lonely too. Gus does everything he can to fix the problem but gets too tired and goes to sleep. We also see he's coughing blood. Uh-oh. While the boys are asleep, Aurora goes for a swim. Bad timing. It's gravity failure time. Aurora gets stuck in floating water, waiting to become the first person dying this way. But nah, almost. Gus finds that there have been cascading failures and the computer can make a timeline showing the first failure was 2 years before. Gus determines that the first few failures made power diversions to try and re-equalize the load, but the load became too heavy, leading to more and more failures. What is all this supposed to mean? Simply put, they're in deep crap. At least Jim and Aurora now talk. The whole ship is in danger of death in space, which will doom the entire crew and passengers. Okay, so you're stuck on a ship for the rest of your lives, but this ship is also sinking? Guess now it's finally time to act. The main engine area was first affected, and they will have to do a manual inspection to tell where. Suddenly, Gus collapses and Jim and Aurora take him to the infirmary and put him in the medical auto-diagnostic scanner. There are a few things wrong. 612 actually. It's all because of the malfunctioning hibernation pod. If only those geniuses who programmed the darn thing could predict this. I guess Gus will soon die. Soon means a few hours. Good news for Jim, if you know what I mean. Gus gets ready to die and gives Jim and Aurora his rest band. Gus is ripped in peace, and now the kids are left all alone. They proceed to the engineering room where they find a problem, the hard way. Aurora gets sucked into a hole made by a meteorite. She blocks it with a tablet Jim pushes to her, and Jim uses a liquid sealant to further seal the hole. Great job, Jim. The area pressurizes, and they find out the fusion engine exhaust must be manually vented. The manual override won't work, so Jim has to get into a spacesuit and go outside to fix it. He has to go into the exhaust passage to open a flap, but it won't stay open unless Jim holds it open. Those machines never work correctly. I'm not a specialist in space and spaceships, but it looks like a suicide mission now, and Aurora clearly sees it too. She's now desperate not to lose Jim and argues with him over the radio, but he still pulls the lever. Jim is pushed out and his tether breaks. Well, at least he wasn't burned down. Hooray! But there is a hole in his suit. Oh, GG, man. He says goodbye to Aurora. These heroes can't wait to die for something. Not on Aurora's watch. She runs to get into a spacesuit herself and retrieves Jim by grabbing his tether. But when they get inside, Jim doesn't respond. Bad sign. Aurora drags him to the infirmary and the autodoc says he's dead. Even worse. Ah, screw you, machines. You've sucked the whole journey. Why should we believe you now? Aurora uses Gus's wristband and his override code to get the machine to resuscitate him. Guess what? It worked. Just like clockwork. Jim is alive and Aurora is happy. Later, things are back to usual. Jim works on the autodoc and tells Aurora his findings. Using the command override, he could put her back in hibernation. Back to sleepy? Nah, that sucks. Aurora chooses to be a morning bird and stay awake with Jim and make a life with him on the ship. Jim gives her a ring. 88 years later, it's the end of the voyage. The captain and crew awake and come to the Grand Concourse to find a whole Garden of Eden instead of a tree and a cabin where Jim and Aurora's children possibly live. Aurora's voiceover reads her story to the passengers, explaining how they made a good life where they were. Moral of the story? Remember that time Jennifer Lawrence leaked all our photos?